And good evening, Star Wars fans. Welcome to another live episode of Holotheatre. As always, I'm Dan Tartaglione, also known as D Tartag1. Joining me tonight is coming off of his, looks like he's coming off of a run right now, is Mr. Matt Lutz, CRG. And
Hello.
I know he's not live on camera, but we have a great picture of him. Also, coming off the finalists at Nationals, losing to his teammate Joe
Losing.
Olson, is Mr. Hayes Hunter. So, how are you guys doing tonight?
Good evening, Dan.
I'm doing well.
So, we got a lot to talk about tonight. So, we're going to start off with a little bit of national stuff. We're going to talk a little bit about the upcoming OCS, and hopefully, Hayes, we're going to talk a little bit about playtesting and some of Set 16. So, but I think we're going to start off with some nationals. Again, both of you guys made the top eight. I know a lot of people weren't really surprised that Hayes made the top eight, being that you've been playing rather well. You won the Indoor Grand Prix last year. You won the NPC. And I don't think that a lot of people were surprised that Matt, you came off of a top eight because you've been playing really well. So, congrats to both of you on a really good showing at Nationals.
Thank you.
Yeah, it
Thank
was
you,
fun.
Dan.
So,
Good
let's.
to sling cards in person, if you will.
Yeah. And
And better to play Avalon.
yes. Yeah. There were some really good games of that game going on in after some of the events and everything. Like, I know you played Saturday night. Matt, you were around Saturday for some of the events, right?
Yeah, I was around a little bit after the event, but I kind of cut out on the games because I wanted to work on some deck stuff. I did get in games on Sunday night, and so heard the
Mm-hmm.
shouting and the yelling and the something from Avalon on the table that was next to us in the game room. And so I enjoyed it
Yeah.
vicariously, not knowing anything about it.
So let's start off with some of the getting back to that Nationals in person feel. So how did you guys? I mean, everybody. I think everybody can attest to playing cards in person is better than playing on GAMP. So I know, and Matt, you did a tournament report. So let's start off with Hayes. So Hayes, how was it getting back to in person gaming?
It's fantastic. I mean, it's a game of information, and GEMP gives away a lot of information. I mean, we're all familiar with the barrier delay and so forth, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, I also appreciate the I don't want to say gamesmanship, but the you know, you can banter a bit in person, right? You can posture. So,
Mm-hmm.
there's an air of that makes it for me a little bit more fun. I always have barrier. I always have Hujix or what have you, right? Like that's just how I play, and I'll state as much, and then my opponent has to guess or not.
Yeah.
Or how frequently I don't. I felt so good to ask, how many cards are in your hand? That was 13, right? That's your 13th card? Okay, just checking, I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it's that kind of stuff is great, but man, counting activation, ugh. I had so many people underactivated against me, like
Mm-hmm.
um, math, power, battles. I'm really happy I didn't play against Barrack because I subtraction is the
Yeah.
worst. But yeah.
You didn't run into Bright Hope either.
Nope, I avoided all that stuff. No
That's
subtraction.
good.
It's good.
Good.
No dash rend RV or anything. So that's good. That's a good
I just
thing.
had to add or subtract one with the Shadow Collective Mall, so it wasn't that bad.
Actually, and thank goodness you didn't have to like click every time you didn't want to do it, right?
Yeah, that's
Right.
true.
Correct.
So
But I did hear people joking about how they wanted their cards to light up for them. So
Yeah, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's definitely a challenge. I mean, I think everybody,
right.
myself included, had some element of rust. I felt like probably more games went to time than normal, just because I mean you have to shuffle your own cards and so
hmm
forth. But I mean, I think by the end of it, everyone was back into the swing of things for the most part. It was just
Right.
fantastic. If you weren't there, you missed a great experience. I mean, it just unbelievable. It was it it had been too long, so it was really wonderful seeing everybody again.
Mm-hmm.
Agreed. Or seeing some people for the first time. In my case, I haven't played
Yeah.
an in-person
Yeah.
event before.
Oh
Or
yeah, totally.
in-person major.
And then we had some returning players like Lee Edwards back from the dead.
Yep.
Kyle Kraft, he's a Colorado local. He showed up and he was watching the stream and stuff. I mean, he hasn't played the game in 20
Mm-hmm.
years. Who else came back?
Kevin Shannon showed up.
Kevin Shannon. Oh my God, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was just fantastic having all these people back again. It felt like old times. It was wonderful.
It was kind of weird seeing Kevin with that Grizzly Adams beard that he had rocking. Like I remember him back in the day, you know, clean shaven and everything, and then bam, he shows up and it's just like down to here. But so Hayes, how did it feel? You've made the final table essentially in the last two in-person majors. How does that feel?
It was fine. I mean, it was a lot of energy and effort. Like, I was just ready to be done with Star Wars. I really just wanted to play other games. Like going into the top 8, I had zero pressure. I was like, if I lose, I get to go play other games sooner. So I was playing without a care. So I was playing very loose, and you know, I split my games, but they worked out in my favor. And then when, you know, that the great thing about having teammates in an event, right? The goal is, you know, yes, sure, I like to win. So does Joe. So does Kyle. So does Cal. But ultimately, the goal is one of us wants to win. Like we want to make that happen. And having us split 2 and 1 on the bracket, it was nice because we could like ignore each other, and we had to like, for deck prep, we worried about a smaller section of the field. And, you know, obviously, like, if we matched up at any point during the top 8 or top 4, you know, we could, like, say, whose decks match up do we think better for the final? I mean, I was pretty much prepared to concede to anybody at any point in time, because I'm not as young as I used to be. But,
I think all of us figured that out, like, Saturday and Sunday night. Like,
I was exhausted.
yeah, going back on Monday, I know a lot of people were just exhausted, and a lot of people, it just felt weird going back to after an event, you know. And like I remember Endor, I was like, okay, you know, I'm feeling fine, I'm good to go back. I get back on Monday, and the first thing I want to do is lay down because I'm just physically and mentally exhausted, and I didn't even play.
Right.
But it's worth it in the end, you know. I think Team 5 had a really good read on the environment. I just made a post on the forums because somebody was asking about why map was back, and I you know, I hadn't really thought about it till I typed out the post, but like back in the day, without GEMP, right? The only primary electronic resource we had was deck tech, and then whatever, you know, those PDFs that would get uploaded, those, you know, terrible handwritten deck lists, scribbled, whatever. Well,
speak for yourself.
Yeah, I have to not count Brian Harold's deck lists because those were always impeccable with you know, the graphics and stuff. But no, so big events was really interesting back in the day because you had all these different sort of stratified metas combining, and then it was like, you know, a challenge to figure out stuff that you hadn't necessarily seen at your local game store or in your state or whatever area. And so, you know, better players tend to do better when, you know, because they can adapt on the fly and so forth. But now it's a different challenge because everything is so homogenized. Everybody is on GEMP, so everybody has the same information. Everyone sees the same decks being played. Everyone's making, you know, the same, you know, even if you're not like pushing the envelope as an individual, you're at least riding the wave, right? You're aware, if you're you know, a competitive player, you're constantly aware of what's being played on GEMP and what the current environment looks like. And so what Charlie and Dennis did was fantastic, in my opinion. You know, we started off low on map because we're like, oh, it's not as good as it used to be. There's all these other good dark decks. It's, you know, we don't like the mains matchup. You know, we map went from being like one of our quote unquote how do we play against this decks to like an afterthought in our meta, spreadsheet. Where like, nah, no one's gonna play this. And of course, they took it a step further. They realized that the light side had, I don't want to say warped, but it had evolved so much to the point, not full circle, right? But they just quickly, they were able to determine, look, everyone's playing OA. What beats OA? This deck, right? Map is always better than OA, given average draws and similar play skill. It's just advantaged. So it was, as long as you go like 2-0 or 3-0 to start your day off, you're in mainstream meta. You don't have to worry about somebody necessarily playing what would normally be a mad matchup for you, because if they're playing that deck, in theory, they shouldn't be winning. So anyway, it was a very, very smart, logical leap. And Team 5 has had a good run recently, and Joe and I both attribute that to our teamwork, our analysis of the environment. Well, that's right now, to be successful, teams are important, because it's not just about the camaraderie and the ability to play games in private or whatever. It's really about the team working together to analyze and disagree with one another about how things work or how things should work given the circumstances. So our team has been very good at that these last couple of events. It's sort of determining the meta and making the right call. Like Joe playing this deal in the top 8 was brilliant, because everybody thought that deck was going to get tech for on day 1, so nobody played it. And then he's like, no one's going to put tech back in for this. I'm going to play it. Like, it was like the perfect like backflip, right? Like he just spun. And his decision to play Tig at the NPC that day was great. Now Tig is terrible because everyone's playing Vader again, right? Like it's you have to take your shots like that. But it's Star Wars is a game of information, and GEMP is the best source for information. Not necessarily like as stated, right? It's about inferring things from the information provided. So but that's the real challenge now, is getting the right read on the meta and then just executing.
Yeah, that's really well said. And it's interesting that you were talking about how Charlie and Dennis went towards map, especially because they're on the New Allies, and we have a member of the New Allies here who deferred. Like, so when you guys were in your little team Slack chats or whatever you guys use, was it just strictly like Charlie and Dennis who were thinking about map, or was it your team or were you guys just avoiding map? Like, go into a little bit of detail if you can, Matt, on that.
So I mean, Charlie and Dennis were the only ones who played map, because they've been playing map in one way or the other forever. I mean, Dennis is a mains player, and he'll kind of stick with that kind of beatdown potential. And I think it just kind of goes to what he's just said, is those guys realized that everyone was shifting toward OA, especially the top players. I thought they would see after a couple of tables. I mean, I brought an OA deck and played it a couple times, Friday, just to get the feel of it in person, and I audible off of it. I didn't want to deal with it at all. It just wasn't comfortable for me. But then kind of they stuck with it, and I ended up one round getting paired against Charlie and losing. Because he played map and he played perfectly and flawlessly, and I didn't have an answer to it. And part of that is I used my LS canceller right before he then LS'd away, but I needed to cancel Dr. E that turn before I beat up on the audience chamber. So I don't think it was some sort of like deep meta call or deep kind of analysis. It was just a realization of a lot of top players are going to play OA. We are top players. Let's, rock, paper, scissors this and play what we know and play what we think will match up with those other folks we think we'll get matched with.
I'm happy you used that turn of phrase, rock, paper, scissors, because that is sort of my gripe from a playing perspective. On at least 3 occasions, I sat down and my opponent goes, "Oh, I guess we know how this goes." And like, I'm, I wasn't that sure about it, because I honestly played like half a dozen games with both the decks that I played. Like I did not get a lot of seat time. Like I lost with my Brigham against Shannon because I tried to like start dueling early, and that was a terrible decision because my destinies were random early and his were randomly high. So, that didn't work out. And then I played against Desai in the final game, and I beat him with my Brigham against his OA. Because I said, well, that didn't work last time. I'm just going to play this way instead, and it was fine. But
Right.
there was a bit of rock paper scissors, and I do feel like that's I mean, this is the curse of design, right? No one's happy when it's only one or two good decks because everyone's like, oh, there's only one or two good decks. But as soon as you start going into a wider, more diverse, quote unquote, viable field, you inevitably end up with some element of, I mean, there's always going to be good matches, bad matches,
Yeah,
but
right.
Star Wars, what makes the game so great oftentimes is if you're a good player, you can mitigate bad matchups based on play skill. Like, I
Correct.
if I was playing against Dennis with map against his Let the Wookiee Win mains, I would probably expect to lose because he's a good player. He knows how to play the deck. But if I was playing against somebody that's not Dennis, somebody, that's not great with Let the Wookiee Win mains, I'd be like, it's not a great matchup on paper, but I can swing it. It's one of those things. But it's becoming more and more. I'm noticing more rock paper scissors in the current
yeah,
setup. Like Rescue the Princess sucks against a lot of stuff, beats the heck out of this deal's getting worse, right? But nobody played Rescue.
yeah,
Um, OA can really trump, this deal and bring them. That's why a lot of people played it. But it's, I walked into Charlie's map too, and it was painful. Like, it was like turn one, okay, I guess I'm going to deploy Lando and Radis in battle, like outside of the ship. Like, yeah,
yeah,
I mean, I had to make some like really poor, risky plays because it's just an unfortunate matchup. But yeah, so the
Yeah.
rock paper scissor element is interesting. We're starting to see it percolate a bit.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
I think I was. Go ahead, Dan.
oh, I was going to say, coming from back from like a Magic perspective, I would rather be in a rock paper scissors situation than what we had in Worlds last year, where everybody's playing Hitco or Hunt Down V, and those are the two. Strictly, you play these decks and you play them well, you're gonna do well in an event. So I would rather be in that position versus, like I said, being having just one to two decks being played, and
Right.
because right now you got to think about it. There are so many decks that are being played that are viable. Profit, for instance, Matt, you played two different versions of Profit, both one on in day one, which was like a little bit more aggressive. Am I wrong?
Yeah, my profit list day one was more similar to Jared Napolitano's NPC list from earlier this year. So it's a profit beats list.
Mm-hmm. So I
And then
mean,
day two was the peaceful prophet, please don't flip the table on me list.
I like that one.
I know you do.
It's just kind of quirky, and I love it. But no, I mean, being seeing these different decks that are being played, that's fine. I mean, I would rather have that than Hitco and Hunt Down V.
But okay, so mind you, the Hitco and Hunt Down V, and even thinking further back, the Agents of the Black Sun worlds, like
Mm-hmm.
the
Right.
this is a product of call it bad testing, call it bad design, whatever. I mean, erratas were necessary in both cases, right?
Yes.
Whoever's fault it was. Let's not get into that. The point, I am disagreeing with your point though, that you prefer 8 viable and rock paper scissors, because I prefer to be the master of my own fate. I don't want to sit down and have a predetermined matchup.
That's true.
I like I like it when I am in control and I'm responsible for whether or not I win or lose, not because you're playing this build and I'm playing that build and
Okay.
therefore it's not compatible.
Eh,
So, I mean, there's both sides of the coin though, because our population is quite diverse, right? I mean,
true.
we have
Right.
players of all different levels and scale. We have some people that want to do things just like in the movies. We have players that don't like shields. There is people of all different
Players,
walks, and it's
there's
really
players who
hard.
don't like Disney.
It, yeah, go Facebook. Yeah. No, it's just you can't please everyone. Like I feel for design because there
Yeah.
is, we're a small community, but we're still hundreds of people. You're never gonna please everybody, so it's a rock and a hard place. I mean,
Yeah.
things are gonna evolve, and then things are gonna break, and we're just gonna keep going because we love the game and we love hanging out each other. Like
True.
in the end, who cares? Whatever. It's Star Wars cards. Let's play some Avalon, right? Like whatever.
To be fair, my goal at Worlds is I would love to get into like the top 15 at Worlds if I play. I'm hoping to play. So I'm not going to be on commentary if I go to Worlds. So let's just put that out there right now. But I want to do well. So I mean, I see your point though. I like that whole master of my own fate, and I do agree with you. I mean, I coming from, like I said, I've been playing a lot of Magic recently, so much more Magic right now than Star Wars. So I've been testing the different matchups to get to know those matchups by myself. I would rather do that, and like I would love to bring that to Star Wars right now than like in the chat is saying JagTech just to me sure he's saying I don't want to hopefully dodge a matchup that I know I'm going to lose. So I mean I get your point.
Yeah, and I think I'm going to agree with Hayes on this one. I think I only ran into kind of one or two matchups over the weekend at Nationals where it was, I don't want to say predetermined, but there's like a definite game plan both players know going into it. And in both games versus CCT, one in the team tournament, one in the main event, where we know we're going to just kind of pile out the audience chamber and kind of fight it out there, and maybe Prophet's going to win that, maybe not. Really kind of depends on what the internet package is, what the destinies look like, things like that. But I felt like every game that weekend, there was a definite, especially on light side, just because Prophet's got some more. You have to make good decisions about use pile polls and what you to play when and things like that. But it felt like I was more in control of the result of the game versus, you flipped over, Hunt down and I'm playing QMC. I guess Hunt down loses, for example.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I mean, to be fair, Star Wars compared to all other games does give you inherently the most control, right? Like,
yes.
If I have I mean, I can still win a quote-unquote bad matchup in Star Wars more readily or easily than I can in a game like Magic because you don't just draw one card a turn, right? Like, there's mechanically, Star Wars does still tend to reward the player who makes the fewest mistakes and plays the most flawlessly or whatever. But anyway, yeah. So bottom line, it was a fun event. It was really interesting to see the jump though from what happened on Gemp to what showed up at the tournament, and like some people were with it and some people weren't with it. Like, that was fun. You just you placed your bets, you see where the chips fall, and that was it. So. But yeah, everyone was a really good opponent. Nobody's a jerk anymore. Like, it was, I really enjoyed playing all my games with Dark. Late, whatever. But Dark was fun.
Yeah.
I got to battle Star Wars battles.
Again, you don't win Star Wars games by battling.
Sometimes you do.
Sometimes you do.
I did.
Yeah, you did. So let's go into like your deck choices. So Hayes, what did you play day 1 and day 2? You played. You said you played Brigham before me in OA.
Yeah, I copied Desai's Brigham list, and the evolution that Team 5 made was, oh boy, everyone's running OA. They're running Admiral's Orders. That's bad. We considered adding the combined fleet action to like literally everything. We're like, can Watch Your Step play this? Diplo can play it. No Idea can play it. We had this. So our thing was adding Thrawn and commands, which ultimately is what made the difference in my win against OA with the deck, was because Desai knew that I had these answers, so it changed how he could play.
Makes sense.
But it's I also don't like playing on day 1 grindy decks, because it's 8 games. It's already enough mental work. Like, playing a deck where you're just like, guy go, and then like battle, I win, or I've won 3 battles, I win for real. I mean, like that there's a great appeal for me personally to not having to think playing the Brigham deck.
That's because you do most of your thinking after the event during Avalon.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, save my brain power.
Right.
There you
I don't want
go.
to waste it.
Apparently, someone in the chat has said that you stink, Hayes. Somebody by the name of Walkling.
It's possible. Although I did a shower, so I highly doubt it.
So
Um,
what'd you play for day two? Did you play OA and Brigham, or did you
well, and
shift?
the OA was like really like a last minute decision. I had OA built. Actually,
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea built. I thought I was going to play no idea. And then I'm like, oh man, this deck is just so slow and it's like so not aggressive. And I went back to Desai's OA because I'm like, hi Destiny, yay! I can at least win a battle and like blow them out, and that'll change the momentum and
Right.
it'll make it easy the
Yeah.
rest of the game. So I wanted the easier decks on day one, and then day two I played Kyle's Set Your Course deck, which is amazingly positioned for the meta. Like it's not
Yeah.
everyone likes to think like set your course and they think Goglin's list, which is all this dumb space crap. That's not how you win. You win by blowing them up on the ground. So like his deck is a degree of elegance that most people don't understand. Kyle's Set Your
Oh,
Course deck, I mean, everybody's seen him play it because he plays it all the time, like
Yeah.
nonstop. I mean, it's always changing. But that deck is like it has no vulnerabilities, right? You don't give them anywhere really good to drain. You know, you have the Death Star docking bay, which is the best site ever because you can just throw down anything and you satisfy battle plan. And if they want to stop that, they have to A, spend force, B, lose cards through deployment, C, know that those cards are probably going to die because, you know, my EPP sitting there is going to kill one or two of them. And
Mm-hmm.
then D, I get to counterbeat with no risk. I mean, there's
right.
not even a Gick in the deck. Like, it's the best site ever. Why would you ever go there? There's no good. There's no good positive thing for light side going to the Death Star. So
No.
No.
Mm-mm.
so you don't give them anywhere to like really do damage to you. You just hide in space with this scary space package because, you know, for 6 force you have Boba Fett and Ozzel threatening command, spin, whatnot. Like it's just super efficient and fast, and you draw 18 cards, and then you voyeur the heck out of your opponent. It's wonderful. So
Yeah.
that deck is a ton of fun to play. Shooting the Falcon with a 7 felt really good. You know, just
Who'd you do that against?
uh
Was that against Charlie and on?
Dennis? Charlie? Charlie. It was
It
on
was
stream, I
Charlie.
think.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Uh,
against Charlie.
Also, apparently, you upset Chris Gogan a little bit. He has said this is the last you have wounded him, and it's the last time he helps you get a job.
Okay. I'll keep that in mind.
Just saying.
I don't know the inside baseball on that, so
Nah, same. So, and Matt, you said you played Peaceful Prophet, and what was your dark side?
yeah. So day one, I played the Prophet Beats deck, and then for Dark Side, I played Shadow Collective. And
Okay.
then day two, I played Peaceful Prophet, and then I had a CCT and a Huntdown built and ready to go. But this Friday night I was chatting with Beef Red and Kessling, or Beef Red looks at me and like, Shadow Collective went 4-0 for you on day one, so just play that again.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did on day two.
Sage advice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Always listen to Beef
so,
Red.
Yeah, so Shadow Collective went 5-0 for me over the weekend.
There you go.
And then Prophet went 2-1 on the team event, 2-2 in the main, and then 0-1 against Joe's speed deal in the top 8.
I think you put in your tournament report too that it's all about playing the deck that you know best and not
Mhm.
necessarily the
Yeah.
deck that you quote unquote think is best. I mean, there's
Right.
so much, especially in real life cards, right? You don't
Yeah.
have to be worrying about figuring out how to play your own deck. You want to figure out how to play against your opponent's deck. So if your deck is
Right,
automatic,
yeah.
then you're just advantaged automatically. So
Yeah.
I wanted to play OA. I thought it was the strongest, and I played OA on several occasions, but never in person. And it's just not a deck. Like I sat down and played a couple of games with it against Drew on Friday, and it just felt foreign. Like, what do I do when there's a lot of pulls? There's a lot of, I mean, the ABR mechanic is not new to me, but it just felt, you know, it felt different and weird because it's not Legend, if you will. It's
Yeah.
a more control-y deck. So with Prophet, I mean, even though I went 2-2 with it on the main event, I mean, I felt very, very comfortable with it, which I think helped a ton.
Mm-hmm. And I found it funny that Hayes, you said that OA was faster than no idea, and you went with OA because it's faster. I don't think I think you're the first person to really has ever said that OA is fast.
Compared to No Idea, I mean, the way you play No Idea now, it's like the most boring deck in the world.
That's
Like,
true.
like, I mean, it's literally all you want to do is own one site, one system, and hope that Menace Fades, Projection of Skywalker, and Luke Skywalker keep you reasonable, right? I mean, it was a very safe day two deck because I wasn't gonna win by a lot with it, but light was so bad, I was happy
Yeah,
not losing by a lot, which is exactly what happened with the deck twice. So,
that's fair.
Right.
yep.
Okay, well, so that's all we got for national stock and everything. So, Hayes, really quickly, what can you tell us about playtesting in set 16?
He can tell you that I need to play more games.
Well, we all do. Is there anything you can
Yeah, yeah, I
tell
can
the
tell you.
public?
So from just to let people peek behind the curtain a bit here, right? Obviously, everyone knows that the deadline is, the set needs to be out approximately 4 weeks. If not the official PDF, at least like in-game or a text-based spoiler needs to be made
Mm-hmm.
public about 4 weeks prior to a big event. So, I think I posted within the last week that there was only about 8 weeks to go before we were done.
Yeah.
And of course, we sort of lost some time here because guess who playtesters are? They are active players who like to play Star Wars cards a lot. So that
Yep.
means they are probably going to nationals. So like for the first, I don't know how many, like 2 weeks maybe, there was like a grand total of 4 playtest games. Like I hadn't even read the spoiler, and I'm supposed to be in charge of that stuff. Like I'm like, nope,
Yeah.
priorities. And
Yeah,
so
that's fair.
now that we're back though, like it's blown up quite a bit. We there's a real sense of urgency. Fortunately, the way the process works now, when something doesn't make the cut for a set, it's not just thrown in the trash, right? Because understand that for us to test something, you know, we aren't using Holotable, we aren't using pieces of paper that we've cut out on our
Yeah.
kitchen tables. We're actually playing coded cards on GEMP. So, if something doesn't work out, the code gets saved and it gets tweaked based on what design wants to do with it, and then we try again. So there
Yeah.
is one theme that is new that has been pushed back a couple times because it just wasn't ready. It wasn't competitive or whatnot. Like it just wasn't working, and now it's getting really close to being done. So these final games that we're playing in these last 6 or 7 weeks are really going to determine the course of
Yeah.
a new dark theme.
Ooh.
For light, there was a theme that got pushed back from last set that it was probably, let me look, we had minus RTP, it was the most tested thing we tested last set. And it is a throwback to a legacy theme. If I can, I don't know what keys that, I guess is the appropriate phrase. It's so we have a brand new theme. I'll just say it. And well, like I'm saying it with like
Who's gonna punish you?
the disclaimer being that what I say is not gospel because I'm not design. I don't make any
Yeah.
final decisions. All I do is crack the whip and try to get results. But ultimately, these decisions are not on me and not on playtesting. The playtesters just playtest. We don't make any
Yeah.
decisions. But right now, it's looking like there is a Scarif themed dark deck coming out
Okay.
that may or may not involve blowing up those pesky rebels. And then the throwback theme that will probably be coming back is a far less busted but more interesting version of commuting.
Oh,
So
interesting.
these are slated to be up and coming. Again, no promises, but if I had to bet dollars, they have gotten a large amount of testing in just from the previous work we've done, so they look very strong to be moving forward.
Okay.
We're just really getting more data at this point, so we'll see where it goes. But yeah, it's really exciting the fact that we're so close. Like I don't know, the process is just so much better than it used to be. Like you
Yeah.
can see progress being made, you can see tweaks being made. GEMP gets updated, boom, we're testing the new iteration like that. It's fantastic. So
Right.
all the love and respect to Echo Base Trooper and to Jeremy DePaulo, those guys bend over backwards, and obviously there's other guys who do the programming stuff. But like literally, it would not be possible if not for our GEMP dev team. So
Yeah.
if you are a programmer and you have any free time and you would like to help out your community, feel free to reach out to QuickDraw. And yeah, like that's they do all the real work. It's fantastic.
Awesome.
Agreed.
Okay, so really quickly, I know we just came off of Nationals, but we got to get ready for Worlds, everybody. Again, Worlds is October 7th through the 10th. All information regarding Worlds is on the forums, including prize support.
Concert listings.
Yep, concert listings, possible events. So, like Thursday, I know B Fred is talking about doing a poker tournament. Friday morning is going to be the throwback event, so it's going to be Premiere to do Reflections 2. Also, Friday is going to be the team tournament. We'll see if Bill and Matt can win that one as well. And then everything starts on Saturday, the main event. And then Sunday is the top 8 and the consolation. Also going on right now are in-person regionals. If you're looking to sign up for those, go ahead and go over to the forums. Send an email to our tournament advocate, Chris Schoenthal, with the following information, and we'll get you signed up for some regional events. And if you're looking for any of the tournament reports, again, I know, like I said, Matt Lussey produced one. The rest of them can be found under tournament reports. Joe Olson did one. Ryan Saracen did one.
Hessling did the best one.
Yeah, Mike Kessling did hit one. I'll have to check that out myself here in a little bit. But yeah, if you're looking for some, go ahead and check them out. Again, they're all on the PC under the forums under tournament reports. And
You did one as well.
yeah. And last but not least, let's check up on our Sandcrawler Summer event. Well, it looks like Mr. Joe Olson has finally played his last game. He did win that, so he's currently sitting at 12-0. So congrats to Joe. I don't think anybody else is undefeated at this point, except for Eric Hunter right here sitting at 5-0. So Eric, if you can get your last 7 games in the next like 2, maybe 3 days, you might be able to challenge Joe. So.
Do you know how much he works?
No, I don't.
He works a lot.
That's fair.
He's like, oh, it's midnight. I'm done working for the day. We're like, really? Yeah. I think Joe's
Been
pretty
there.
safe.
That's not fun.
No. Okay, boys, I think it's time for some swinging. Let's talk into some swing and a miss here really quick. Okay, question number 1. So at least 3 people will go 11-1 or better in the OCS in August.
That seems ambitious.
It does, but hey, there's a lot of people who are playing really well right now.
That doesn't matter. I'm skeptical as well. Statistically, it's not likely.
I'm gonna say it's a hit. Like I think it can be done. I mean, there's at least 3 people. There's like 2 people right now in the Jawa event who are 11-1. I think it can be done. I think 3 people could do it. Like,
But haven't most people that are playing really well already qualified?
true, but I mean, Charlie went 11-1 and 12-0 in 2 months back to back, so he's definitely want to up his record to get a higher seed.
Why?
I don't
You're
know.
already qualified.
I don't know.
I think the rule, the unwritten rule, is you qualify and you go, eh.
Well, that's the B Fred rule. B Fred hasn't played in months.
No. Charlie will play games. He'll be fine.
Yeah.
He'll get him in.
I could see it.
He's
I could see 3 people. But okay,
All right.
we'll see. We'll see. We'll see at the end of the month. So at least one person who has never made the OCS will qualify in August.
Are you speaking through winning games, or do you mean through at large?
Through winning games in this month. So
So they have not.
they've
Saying
never gotten into the playoffs. Is what I'm saying.
No, I disagree.
I have to skeptical of Hayes in here.
I'm gonna say somebody's gonna do it, and I think it's gonna be. I can see. Matt, have you made the playoffs for the OCS?
I have never. How many games of OCS have I played this year, though?
That's a good point. What? You played only one game of OCS?
That's
One
more
game
than
in
me.
February.
Wow! Come on, Matt. You are going to be my dark horse pick this month.
I got kids and running in a 100-mile race in 7 seconds of September.
You don't have to run. Why?
I do. Oh my god, I do.
Speaking of running, are you like totally addicted to the Olympics? Either of you?
No.
No.
I have found NBC's coverage of it
It's horrendous.
terrible. And I have like real work and stuff to do during the day, so I don't follow it at all.
Yeah.
Well, the trick is to not watch the NBC coverage because I agree their announcers are awful. They should.
Yeah.
they should.
I'll watch the track and field events when that stuff really kicks up, and then I will watch the men's and women's marathon. That's always the last event.
I don't know.
That's about it.
I'm kind of weird. I prefer the Winter Olympics just because they have hockey. Like, I'm not a big...
hockey. I've said this before. I mean, I'm from Minnesota. It's the so-called state of hockey. I never played it as a kid. I don't understand it. It's
Wow.
like it looks.
That's fair.
Here's the
Wow.
thing. I know it takes a hell of a lot of skill and coordination I don't have, and it just looks sloppy to me, and I don't understand it, and so I know it's not for me. It's not my thing.
Whatever nice things I said to you in the state of Colorado, I take back now.
You know what? I'm excited because I announced the Team USA's coach for it, and it's Mike Sullivan from Pittsburgh. So, I know that's a little bit off topic, but let's get back on topic really quick. So,
Okay.
we've only got 2 days left in the Sandcrawler Summer. One person right now is currently sitting at 8-2, and that is Mr. JagTech himself, Justin Miyashiro. Will he make the top 8?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you going to disagree again, Dan?
No,
That
I'm
seems to be a
no.
trend.
He's saying he's not. He's saying he's not going to make the top 8. I think he will. Oh, apparently he's 9-2 now.
Justin, the pressure is on.
Yeah, you got to do it.
Got it.
If you don't make it, Justin.
Everyone is rooting for you now.
Accurate.
Yeah,
Dozens of us.
yeah,
Dozens of them.
dozens. Knock out Batmouse. Get rid of Batmouse. Okay, and for our last question of the night. So the Jawa event, the Sandcrawler Summer, saw 68 players get in at least one game. So when we do the next one, we're going to see at least 75 players get at least one game in.
Disagree.
I'll take that. Disagree.
Disagree.
That's a hit.
I think it's going to be a hit.
I'm disagreeing because A, my brother's on the council and he called me stinky, and B, because it's inversely popular to the current environment. More people play not Sandcrawler. More people play Jawa when they are dissatisfied with the current meta, and I am lobbying hard that the meta is only going to improve with set 16, and people are going to be just they will be smitten with regular meta that they won't feel like escaping to Jawa, and therefore we will see a drastic decline in the Jawa attendance.
You know what? That's fair, but I think the next Jawa thing is going to be like next year. So I know we're talking a little bit of, or do we have a Jawa event for later this year?
I don't think anything's been announced, but I would imagine we'll get something after
Yeah.
Worlds.
Plus, I mean,
There's even,
you got to admit this
tell
up.
you something else. I'm gonna spoil something else. There is a Jawa event inspired cards, multiple in this next set.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe just one. I don't know.
I think it's just one, but I will say this though: the prizes have been getting so much better. Like, I know everybody was so happy with the prize support from Nationals. Wait until Worlds.
I'm excited for Worlds. I booked my ticket this week.
Yeah, I got to get my ticket too, but I got to look and see where I'm at. So it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
My wife and I had some flight credits, so I paid all of $3.80 for my flight to DC.
Lucky.
Wow.
There you go. Okay, so that's all we had for Swing and a Miss, everybody. So really quick, let's talk about our. We're gonna do a next. I know this month we didn't do a deck building challenge, so next month we are gonna come back. So like the OCS, we're gonna return for August. Our deck building challenge for August is you got to play with both the light side and dark side from any of the top deck 8. So you could play Matt's Peaceful Prophet. You could play his Shadow Collective. You could play Hayes's.
Don't play that deck.
What, the Shadow Collective or the Peaceful Prophet?
Don't play the Prophet deck.
You could play Set Your Course, the one that Kyle played. You could play Joe's No Idea or Deal decks. But you got to win with both of them. So you got to win with a light side and a dark side. But it could be from any of those top 8 deck lists. Again, this is going to start on August 1st on server time. So even if you're 2 hours before, Justin, I'm disqualifying you from from this deck building challenge.
One clarifying question, Dan. It does not have to be from the same person's dark.
No, you can mix it up. You can totally mix it up if you want. I don't care. So again, just throw us a game link with a screenshot. You don't need a deck list because you have self-generated list essentially. So just play with those 2 decks. That's all.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay, Hayes. I know you're ready for this. Are you ready for your lore challenge?
I'm absolutely ready for my lore challenge.
Okay.
I've never been more prepared.
What?
I love these because Dan doesn't tell me what card he picks before we do this.
No, because you're going to get a chance to help him.
You know how I
good.
prepped for this? I looked at one card that I really wanted to know the lore for, and I now know that one card. And if it's not that one card, I'm probably not getting it.
Oh, come on.
Nice.
I think this one is kind of it's not a bad one. It's not like I just say leader to you. But I mean, that was a soft.
Hold on. Are you showing the card?
I will no. I will not show. I will not show the card on the screen.
Okay.
So, but I'm going to show the lore on the screen. I'm going to read the lore, and then I'm also going to give you the option if you wanted to guess the type of the card or the set. And then that's it. And then you get to take a stab at the dark and see what it is.
Okay.
Okay, your lore challenge for today is...
Bantha.
No. Your lore challenge is Mudhole, Slimy, My Home This Is.
It is...
Would you like to know the set or the type?
No. Well, both are terrible because it's from Dagobah and everything is red in Dagobah.
Yeah.
So I
That's it. It's 2 characters.
it's either
There's more characters than just 2. Darkseid has a lot. Would you like? Do you want the type or the? I'm guessing you want the type.
I want you to tell me what side of the force it is.
No. It's either the type or the set.
All right, type.
Effect.
Location, location, location. Boom. Final answer.
Damn. You're right.
Accurate.
Yeah.
Well, Hayes just won that. That was no question. Like, wow, we've had 3 winners in a row. I think that's not happened. So either I got to up my game or...
I'll give you one. The card that I looked up. You want to know?
Sure.
All right. Gambler who bets on how long the Rancor's victims will last. Because that narrows it down. Like, how many aliens are in Jabba's palace, right?
Yeah.
Formerly an Imperial pilot who worked with Lieutenant Tampris. Now a smuggler for Jabba.
Oh, I know who this is, but I can.
That's me. Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, I know. I have the image in my head now.
If you can give me an appropriate description of what he looks like, I will accept that in lieu of his name. Without, obviously you can't look it up right now, but if you can like mentally picture this card in your head, what does it look like? And if it satisfies me, then I will give you credit.
It's a guy with a hood.
Yeah.
White guy with a hood.
Is his name starts with an N? I want to say his name starts with an N.
Crickets. I'm not offering you any additional help. I've already told you if you can describe it accurately, then you're good.
Well, yeah.
I'm not giving you light side, dark side.
Well, I know
You
it's
obviously
dark side.
You know it's Jabba's palace.
Yeah.
He works for Jabba.
He's an
so-
alien, and he's a dark side character.
That's right. So that's like what the Jabba's palace is 180 cards. Is that right? So now you have to choose from 90. So now you have to choose from 80.
I've said my piece. It's a white guy with a hood.
Yeah, I got that. That is not
I was gonna say.
satisfying.
Okay, hold on. Oh. I'm gonna go with what the chat said. Is it Thul Fan? Thul
Yeah,
Fane?
that was yay, the chat wins. Good job, chat.
Yeah.
I would have also accepted John Madden in a bathrobe. Acceptable answer.
I totally see that. John Madden bathrobe. There you go. All right.
Now your guests are going to come prepared. They're going to do study.
Yeah. Wow. What made you look up that card in particular?
I love that guy. That guy is amazing. Because, all right, everyone is like Maul is so good because he adds one to your destinies, right? Both Maul, like half Destiny Maul,
Yeah.
but also the new EPP Maul. And like you'll note that Kyle and I play Math Vader and Set Your Course because he's so good adding one to your destinies. Like, why do people play Anakin Skywalker? Because he adds one to your destinies. This guy adds two. Two is twice as good as one. Like you can't argue with that math. So like, dude, Math Vader plus Stelphane and Tambris, look out. That's like Rob's level power.
Rob's level power. Oh God. I too bad he's not an Imperial. Can we make a virtual one of this guy where he's an Imperial?
Well, you can get it in Scum because if they're both piloting like the Sith Infiltrator, they both satisfy Scum because they're piloting an Imperial starship or a independent starship. So you can do it there. I mean, Vader would have to be piloting something else too, but yeah.
Or you just what?
Hey, so have you ever played Tambris and got him on the table?
I won my very first tournament with Stelphane and Lieutenant Tambris. That's why he holds a safe spot as a very nice warm spot.
Well, well, if that's the case, then yeah, we're gonna have to make a Thulfane virtual just for you.
Play I Have You Now, and you're adding 3 to all your destinies. What survives against that? Nothing.
Nothing.
Three
Fully immune dudes with lots of power. I don't know.
Yeah.
What's you doing in space?
Punch it.
Yeah.
Moving to attack position.
Organized attack.
You're just making up cards now.
I am. They don't exist. No.
Well, before we get into any more shenanigans tonight, I think we're going to call it. So again, I want to thank Matt for coming on as the co-host, Hayes Hunter coming on as our guest star. Again, congrats to both of you guys for making the top 8 at Nationals. It was a great time. I can't wait to go to Worlds just to play some Avalon with you guys again.
Yeah.
See you at Worlds, everyone.
Yeah, see everybody at Worlds. Until then, tune in next week where we're going to have Mike Kessling on as our guest star. So make sure you tune into that one. That one's going to be entertaining. Until then,
Worf's on at the same time. That'd be the best hour ever.
Well, I mean, okay, so if I can get worse as the co-host or as our second guest star, yeah, I'll do that in a heartbeat. So you make it happen. Okay.
I'll message him.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Well,
Awesome.
my people will talk to your people, and we'll just do lunch or something.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Until next week, take care, and as always, may the cards be in your favor. Good night, everybody.